What you're seeing behind me is likely what's going to be of prime importance at the end of this week, leading into Monday of Tuesday next week. You're looking at price action, very small candles. I think I'm on the 3 minute chart interacting with the weekly 10. As weird as this sounds, I typically don't promote like super small time frames like this, but how price interacts with this line in general, whether it's a weekly closure, hourly closure, 4 hour, whatever, the closures and how price interacts with it. So, for example, right behind me, this did not use the red line as resistance specifically, but nor did it use it as support specifically. So it's hovering on both sides of it, kind of doing it. You can't really tell. It's not being used as either. So it really could go either way right now. And so the how price interacts, even though that's not giving us great information here, the daily closures and this weekly closure ending Sunday at 8 p.m. New York time, it's going to be key. And then after the closure, then I believe these small candles, which aren't giving us jack shit for information right now because it's going on both sides, on Monday of Tuesday next week, I think that's when these are going to give you the best information in terms of, are we going up to 25K plus, or are we going down to 20,750, or roughly 20 to 21K. It's I think what we're staring at is going to be key next week, but until then, it's probably just going to be chop sideways. Even if Bitcoin wants to go up to 25K before the end of the week, I think it's going to come back down close to this line within 1 to 2%. It's going to be very close to this line roughly on Sunday night is my strong guess. And that's what I've been telling my VIPs from this morning's workshop that we do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on Discord at 8 a.m. New York time, so we can get the trades before the day opens. The price was way up high and it was looking bullish, and I said, I think it might want to come down. I was mentioning, I think the day is going to end here anyway, but I got there quicker before the end of the day. So I think the same rule is going to apply for the weekly, regardless of prices separation the next few days and through the weekend from here. I think it's going to end Sunday somewhere close. Sound good? Until then, it's going to be probably chop. And then next week is probably going to next week we might have the expansion of volatility. It'll be a way more fun week next week. So let's get some Bitcoin. I'm getting some comments on Twitter or whatever about this is for dabs or something. I don't I never did that, but I never used a torch for anything but lighting fireworks or a cigar. But anyway, this is my cigar lighter. So let's extrapolate a little bit. Let me put on the daily 10, and I'm going to make it white. Even though my 10s are usually red, but when I have two 10s and that are the key things in play, which is what's happening right now. So the two major EMAs in play still are the daily 10 and weekly 10. If you zoom out, and maybe even zoom out and go on the CME chart where it's way more obvious. Everything's crunching between the red and the white, and where's it happening? In the middle of the damn range. So price is getting crunch, 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 crunch. So how price interacts with either of them, whether using this as support or just support and resistance for either of them, it's where it's at. If you use EMAs, you might use other things, and if you don't use EMAs, I actually suggest you might try these two right now because it'll probably make you like EMAs a lot better once you realize how perfectly priced. I mean, it really does interact with it, and you can tell that the buy and sell pressure, it truly is interacting with it. I mean, it's undeniable. It's very, very good stuff, and once you appreciate that, you might become an EMA person or lean heavier towards them. All right, and so until we get resolution, so this has not been used as true support yet. And I think that instead of saying, hey, if it goes above here, then it's just going to take a hop up to 25. Well, obviously, I'm not going to give you that kind of stuff. I see that a lot. I try not to do those types of analyses with you. I try to give you a little bit more. So let me give you something a little more nuanced about when do I think a move up to 25 slash perhaps a little higher, but you're going to have a pullback from 25 on 25.5, 25.4. You're going to have some type of pullback most likely. If it happens within the next few days. If it happens next week, you might not. But anyway, I want to show you, okay, in the immediate term, not including next to Wednesday and after. If this happens before, let's say, Monday of next week, I would say my cutoff point here for if it's going to go up to 25K, your threshold is a 45-degree angle from this local top, because crypto loves 45-degree angles for lower highs, and it matches up with this channel line. If it happens soon. If this happens later and it goes down here and it goes above the 45-degree angle, I would still count it as this line. I would use this channel line here for that cutoff. So the channel line in general is kind of my cutoff. And if it can get back above here, then it's going to race up to the top channel line. All right, but most likely I would say it'll try to interact with this sooner than later, something to that effect, and it could get stuck in a triangle between the 45-degree angle and this channel line. But if it can go above this channel line / a 45-degree angle, it's probably gonna race up, and that's gonna be a tradable event. That's 4% on Bitcoin, right? But you also need to be on lower high watch, because this 45-degree angle, it really could, Bitcoin might look like it's using this as support, come up, bounce its head, and then go back below the the weekly 10 and use it as resistance, and then come down. So be on lower high watch and just literally use. I mean, if you've never tried this before, this is such a great moment to try this tool. Just take the freaking projector tool and draw roughly like this. Just do that and leave it and don't remove it, and see how it helps you. Because it gives you a good guidance of, okay, what's going to happen? And you know that this is a key area, right, for short-term price action. Speaking of key areas, Bitcoin on a mid-macro sense is at a massively key area, and I want to show you that right now. And as I'm doing that, follow me on Twitter, Cosasverdes with the number 2. Discord links in the description section of my videos, and YouTube tiered descriptions is in a video that pops up if you click join under my videos, and it describes what it provides for you. All right, here we go. From a mid-macro sense, why Bitcoin is at a very key level right now, or key moment. This is a macro moment right now, actually, or mid-macro. I would call it mid-macro. Let's look at these same 2 EMAs that I'm talking about, right? That are in play. Well, they're extremely important EMAs. I have price off, and we're just looking at these crosses, and this goes all the way back to the top of the late 2017. This is the 20K top back here, okay? Take a look at what happens. White comes up to kiss red, goes down. White comes up to kiss red, goes down. White goes up a little bit above red, then goes down. White comes up to kiss red, goes down. This all was an anomaly, because this is coronavirus. This was a little bit of a, I don't know. This one went way above it. But anyway, but in a bull market, so then you turn bullish after this, right? This was the inflection point. No one knew it was a bull market at that point. But anyway, in retrospect, bull market. Then it comes down to kiss it, comes down to kiss it. So the crosses, whether it's up or down, the interaction of white with red is huge, right? Now, look what's happening. You have this cross. Am I saying, hey, the bottom's in, up forever? I mean, honestly, it's getting close to being able to start even thinking about that, but it hasn't even crossed yet. But just realize it's getting ready to cross. So you have, I was just going over this on a Discord call, but you have essentially 3 ways that this will play out. Either it comes up to kiss it, or it goes just above it, or less likely than those 2, it goes way above it, right? So 2 of the 3 items mean there's more upside, significant, like in terms of days. So look at one of these where it kissed it. And this one, it went just above it. We're going to zoom into these areas in 2017. I'm going to put price back on. And I'm going to zoom in there. And take a look. So remember those 3 options. Kissing, or going a little bit above it, or going way above it. Even as it's interacting right around it, it had how many days of just sideways kind of weird stuff? 17 days. And so Bitcoin is like this right now. So Bitcoin could easily go sideways and not do anything special for another 2 to 3 weeks. And that's the most bearish event, right? Of example, where it just kisses it. So just barely kissing goes down is the more bearish case. And this time it happened. It was 17 more days because Bitcoin is essentially right here right now. It just now got above it for the first time in a long time and is interacting with it. 17 more days, or a couple weeks potentially. Here, as it crossed right there, and this, so Bitcoin is more like here because this white line isn't above it in current price action, but Bitcoin's hovering around the weekly 10. Just to the top is 14. So that's 14 days of general upside. It was very choppy upside, but it was still, the direction stayed up for another 2 whole weeks. And again, Bitcoin is equivalently about here because white has not crossed red, and Bitcoin just recently went above the red and is flirting with it. And that's 14 days to the high. All right. And those are 2 of the cases. And the third case is it's obviously longer. So Bitcoin, well, this isn't quite happening on Bitcoin, but in that case, from the time it went above the 10, let's call it around here, well, that's also about 14 days. So it is actually about the same length as this guy when it went a lot farther above. All right. So we have that same thing with 3 potential outcomes. And 2 of 3 means this could have general upside for 14 more days. Like, you don't get the height of this rally for another 2 weeks. And the most bearish case is it could easily hover around sideways here for 14 days as well, right? But not only do you have this very important cross, but where is it happening? At an origin line. So take off the white line and just look at the importance of red crossing any origin lines. And if you think about it visually like this, you form some type of triangle like this, where red is coming down to an ascending line. So by default, you're gonna have a triangle because one's ascending, one's descending. The angle there makes a triangle, right? And a lot of times this is key, where the red crosses an origin line, this triangle. So watch. Look at this triangle. Red crossing below origin line. And when did the massive red candle start? Exactly on the tick when red crossed it. Look at that. Right as it crossed it. It's and so this is what's happening right now. But Bitcoin is hovering. It's trying to avoid so it's essentially Bitcoin is trying to pull up the red, as if Bitcoin is like a person with a rope tied to the red, and he's pulling on it up, going like, don't touch this line. And so Bitcoin wants to get above it to avoid this. It wants to avoid this cross. And Bitcoin having a personality wanting to avoid a cross also happens on major EMAs like weekly 10 and 21. Where was it? I just did this during my Discord. I was pointing the same thing out. I know where it was. Yes, here. All right. So if you take these off, look at this This is one of the most ridiculous candles in Bitcoin history. It is. Look, I mean, it's late October 2019. All right, Bitcoin went up freaking 40% in a day. I mean, look, that hasn't happened. That's stupid. Look at this. Yes, that's the one day. All right, 2 12-hour candles, 40%. Why did that happen? Think of the personality, right? Look. What was happening? Red was getting ready to go below yellow, and Bitcoin as a person said, oh shit, Red, you better, like, it's like pushing up Red. He's like, don't go down. And then it broke. Bitcoin couldn't hold up the red to not cross yellow. And that's why that spike happened. Right? And Bitcoin turned into like a personality saying, I don't want you to cross. I like that version to show that. What's really happening is smart bots and smart algos tricking less sophisticated ones. That's really what's happening. But it's not as fun to think about it that way. But it's actually what's happening. All right. I like the person though, personifying Bitcoin. I don't want you to cross. I like that a lot better. But that is when you have those the bot wars essentially, and so we have EMAs get important. So not the same two, not this yellow red that crossed long ago. Shit, that did cross a long time ago here. So and you can see here, price raced up to try to do what? To try to get red to not cross it, right? Anyway. Take this yellow guy off. So not only do you have these important EMAs getting ready to cross, but and that's a bullish. That would be a bullish cross. But then you also have the bullish personification of Bitcoin trying to keep red above this origin line. And even if red ends up crossing below and dragging Bitcoin down, as you saw in the previous example, it can still go sideways. Well, it actually went down exactly as this, so that could actually happen soon. This all could have been a major fail. So if it happens like this, exactly when it crosses, that means it's getting ready to dump. I'm not saying that that's what I think is going to happen this time. I don't think it'll be as perfectly timed. But just realize this is a huge juncture for multiple reasons. And the multiple reasons is what makes it a huge juncture. Origin line with red, and then an important EMA cross. It's big stuff. This is a massive, massive time for Bitcoin. Way more important of a time than all of this. Way more crucial. This area here is very. It's like a. Yeah, it's a very special moment in Bitcoin price. And if you're not a chart nerd, I think it would be easy. Just to think of this as, like the same old shit, just chopping my account to death. Well, no, it's not the same old shit. This is some stankier shit. Like this is a big one, the one that's gonna hurt coming out type of deal. All right, so sorry for the bad poop jokes, but whatever. And so on the low time frames, what we're looking at here is to simplify this on a chart. Taking all that this is a massively important thing is the same too, but you have extra support, so you have the point of control along with this 10. So if it comes down, it's likely going to go back up and chop some more, right? And it already went up, and now what did it do? It went right back below. So this is almost, and that's why I'm confident that the end of the week, even if price comes all the way down to 23.3 or goes all the way up to 25.5 before Monday, I think the week will end about here. I think it's going to be, because I don't think the weekly closure, I don't think whales or whoever is messing around mostly with Bitcoin, which is essentially hedge funds doing it, I think that they're set up to make money on the next leg or whatever happens next. I think they're going to want to create deception on the weekly closure. So regardless of what happens from now till Sunday, I think it's going to come right back to where it is. Thinking like a whale, which has served me very well since last May when the Wyckoff dip happened in May 2021. And I felt bad for missing that. And so I thought like a whale, and it served me pretty well. So that's what I'm looking at a chart. There's not a whole lot else to talk about outside of the fact that this is a critical juncture, how to interpret it, and when to determine, hey, is this going to take the next leg up? I told you about the 45-degree angle / this channel line right here is my determining of, hey, it's going to make the next leg up 4% move. And it should initiate it pretty quickly. And if any major move or mid-major move happens that looks major, it's probably going to come right back to this by Sunday. So keep that in mind as well. And I guess I'll open stuff up to questions at this point, because Bitcoin is just chopping around, floating around. Altcoins are way more exciting because Bitcoin dominance is dropping, which means most of the Tether money that's getting converted from Tether to crypto, it's going into altcoins. So I almost wanted to turn this into one of my old shows. I used to only talk about altcoins, right? That's what I used to do. Talk about B Pro and Veracity and MTV and all that stuff. it'd actually be more appropriate during this live chat. So I will wrap Bitcoin up in 25 minutes, and here we go.